thoughts spinning fast, I pause and take my stand. Coffee in hand, I lace up truth with heaven's battle plan. No fear, no doubt, I suit up strong, his armor fits just right. I'm walking tall, I'm prayed up now, I'm ready for the fight. Wrap me in truth, no lies allowed. I'll walk this road with my head unbowed. No fake disguise, no twisted words, just gospel truth, pure and undisturbed. Armor of God, my morning song is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory is mine, I won't retreat. Guard my heart, Lord, keep it clean. Your righteousness, my daily sheen. No shame, no guilt, no hidden stain. I wear your grace like a holy chain. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on the ways, peace on my feet, victory is mine, I won't retreat. Bruce lays tight with peace I bring, good news echoes when I sing. I step with calm through storm and flame. Each stride I take, I lift your name. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. Mind renewed, no fear inside, salvation's crown, my holy God. Thoughts aligned with heaven's view, I see the world through what is true. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. Word in hand, I speak with fire, sharper than steel, it lifts me high. No weapon formed can take me down. I fight with faith, I wear the crown. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. So here I stand, the day begun, armored up till setting sun. With every breath I walk his way, in truth and love I face the day.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm going to skip the ads this morning, but if you would, please take some time and check them out on the links down below. They've got some good sales going on both sites. EMP Shield, as always, you get a $50 discount just for clicking on my link and making a purchase there. You get quite a few discounts over at MyPatriotSupply. And the really cool thing is between both of those links, they pretty much covered everything that you need to, say, for example, if you got a bug out or a bug in for the next 2 to 3 weeks, they've got everything there that you need. So check them out, My Patriot Food Supply and EMP. What is this morning, it's going to seem like we're going to go through a bunch of different things together here, and I'll probably show most of it on the screen. I think I'm going to try it. The switching back and forth is kind of hard just for one person, but we'll see how it works out. I kind of spent most of my morning dealing with little gremlins in the machine here. 1 second here, I just gotta... Seems like when you're in a hurry to do a response to a text message, these big fat thumbs just don't navigate a keyboard very well. I'm sorry that I do that with you guys sometimes when I'm on, but my communication with her is very important. So sometimes we get updates, and sometimes it's just that things happen, and she's just letting me know that she's okay. Anyway, like I was saying, I had some ghosts in the machine this morning. I don't even know if audio is working. Let me check it, because I was testing this morning and I wasn't getting anything back. Usually on the opening intro song, I can hear it if I have my headsets on. But I had the headsets on and I couldn't hear it. But when I did a test recording, it seemed like it was going out. So I'm going to pop over quickly and just hit one of my hit the YouTube channel here and just verify that I have sound, guys. I just don't want to go through a whole stream this morning and have no sound here, and just verify that. So it looks like I got sound. Everything's good on YouTube. So if I'm getting it on YouTube, I'm getting it on Rumble and on BitChute as well. So yep, I am now live streaming every day to BitChute. If I put something on my Chill and Relax channel, that's the other channel that's linked down below, that stuff automatically gets uploaded to BitChute within a day. So, but I'm not live streaming anything over to Chill and Relax right now. I've got other plans for that. I think that's just going to be mainly the documentary channel. How is everybody this morning? I mean, I know I got people watching because I can go look and I see that there are people watching, but nobody wants to say hi or good morning to me in the morning in chat. Why not? It's kind of, Anyway. Let's see. I'm going to hop over here. We'll go ahead and start hitting the news. And I'm going to go ahead and just put this all on screen for you. You guys will probably see less of me than you normally do on the live stream. So mainly just the screen sharing stuff here. So let's get into this. All right, so just so you all know, today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump is going to be making a rare unscheduled presidential address from the White House, and it comes immediately after a full cabinet meeting at a moment of escalating global tension. And that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. We're going to cover a lot. So far, there's been no leaks, no previews, no hint at the subject. Something is coming. Stay tuned. Now, there are some people out there that are talking about what's going on in Venezuela. So I wanted to read this to you guys. We'll go through it. And then I have some comments of my own. Jim Ferguson's usually pretty good. He's pretty spot on. I think he tries to put the truth out there. He's an upstanding guy. And I follow him. I don't subscribe to him, but I follow him on X. So he's got this breaking Operation Free Venezuela is now underway. The U.S. ultimatum has expired. And every signal coming out of Washington, Caracas, and the Caribbean points to the same conclusion. This is no longer a standoff. It's the beginning of war with the United States of America. Game on. The moment everyone feared and Maduro desperately hoped to avoid is now here. He had a chance to flee. He had a guaranteed escape route. He had one final window to walk away alive. Now, I'm going to talk about that once we get through this, because I have some other news that I heard about last night already. And this here, when I opened it this morning, it was about 5 hours old. But the other news that I got last night, I think it would probably be now close to 12 hours ago. Anyway, that window has closed. The die is cast. Massive U.S. air and naval forces are already in position. Intelligence units and special forces are active on the ground. Maduro is isolated, abandoned by allies, and cornered by his own regime's narco-terror networks. Operation Free Venezuela has moved to its next phase, and history is about to turn sharply. Now, I'm not going to go into all the replies that people were putting in on Jim, because most of it was hit pieces on him. But what I wanted to mention in reference to Maduro having a chance to leave, I got some intel last night that it's very possible that he did leave. He flew on an aircraft to an airfield near the border with Brazil, and from there took a vehicle ride to the border, and he walked across the border on foot, was picked up by some people there, and then was taken from there. So I guess even if he did leave and he's deciding that he's gonna abandon his country, probably because if he does, it's because he's guilty and he knows that his days would be numbered, especially if he was captured and brought to the United States. What surprises me is that he had a $50 million bounty on him and none of his own people took him out. Or did they? Who knows? We don't know. Anyway, so that's what's going on with Venezuela. All right. So Kristi Noam says, I just met with the president. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Our forefathers built this nation on blood, sweat, and the unyielding love of freedom, not for foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, or snatch benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. So President Trump had already mentioned the other day that he is going to be, he was basically under advisement that they were going to start deporting. And he specifically, on the plane, he specifically talked about beginning with the Somalis. Yesterday I spoke that there was about a list of 75 people. I think the list is actually bigger than that, but these are 75 Somalis and or already Americans that were in on the big scam to basically launder all this money through public funding and help programs over to Al-Shabaab. So this list came out. If we know who a partial list of the people are, I'm sure our government knows who all of them are. And I could not think, I mentioned yesterday, and I couldn't think of the name of the airline that was flying a lot of these people in from. They weren't even flying in from Mexico. They were coming in from like Nicaragua. They were coming in from Colombia. I don't remember seeing any planes originating from Venezuela, but there were some South and Central American countries where these planes were originating from, and they were dropping people off. I would probably have to refer back to the flight guy out there, Monkey Works. He was tracking these planes, and he was kind of thinking the same thing, that these were people that were actually being brought into the country. And what's interesting is these planes, when they flew in, a lot of them were actually landing in Texas, but even still, there were more that were flying to places like Minneapolis, St. Paul, to Michigan, and the state of New York. So, I guess I want to know who all these people were that were on these planes. There were hundreds of flights, and these planes, I believe, from what they were saying, could carry from like 150 to 200 passengers. So, do the math. And then I'm just going to move on here. we had a long post and a warning and a prep from Sarah Adams yesterday. And then after that, she also posted that we actually need a national terrorism advisory system message posted today to warn Americans about Al-Qaeda's upcoming homeland plot. The terrorists are here. No travel ban is going to stop our most imminent threat to our public safety. So we had the terror threats and all that stuff going on almost the whole time that the war in Iraq was going on. We had that threat level thing that was popping up, and I think they should have this on the national news. Any news organization should be required to have this posted in a corner or someplace on what the terrorism threat level is in the United States, or in the area where they're broadcasting from would be even better. And it should be mandatory, because it sounds like we are going to actually be at war. Yeah, we're going to actually be at war. So I think this terrorism advisory system message should be up, and there's got to be a way that we can straighten these news organizations out that are putting all this fake news out there to make Trump look bad. Okay, and I'm gonna get to what Trump is doing to combat that, but there's got to. I think they did it a little bit with that. What's it called? MS Now or just Now? And it seems like Fox News has kind of shifted gears a little bit and kind of started leaning back to the right there. I'm seeing little bits of it, but with the exception of Scott Jennings on CNN, I'm not seeing too many people on CNN making the turn. And MSNBC, they're bad. CBS has actually taken a more, and especially ABC, have taken a turn more towards the left. And I'm wondering if maybe that isn't like some signaling here to start showing who the misinformation czars are for each of these news organizations. It'd be some of them that have their press passes still for the White House. And if you haven't noticed the last few days, ABC has been getting thrashed by President Trump because, he basically tells them that they're asking stupid questions. So anyway, now CNN is crying big time right now. They got a picture here of what's his name? I forget his name. Stelter. Brian Stelter. Looks like he's ready to be in a full meltdown. And this is over Trump's Media Bias Monitor webpage. And Brian Stelter is absolutely spiraling. The Trump administration launched a simple transparency tool highlighting inaccurate or misleading coverage, and CNN reacted like they were under a nuclear attack. Stelter went on an on-air rant, repeating the same line like a broken record. The real goal is to delegitimize the media. I would say it's to delegitimize the media. He said it over and over and over and over. See, I think they still think that the more they tell you something, even, the more they tell you a lie, it will eventually become the truth. But I think everybody's kind of awake now about what's actually going on. They were showing viewership for CNN, MSNBC, and ABC, CBS. Their news viewership is way down. People don't trust the mainstream media anymore. So CNN even slapped a dramatic chyron across the bottom of the screen. That's like the scroller. White House launches webpage that targets reporters. Actually, no, it targets fake news. And it says, oh no, not accountability, anything but that. So Stelter then whined that the page was produced at taxpayer expense and that it was designed to tarnish and demean news outlets. Come on, any page that's made by the government, I guarantee you Trump's not getting people that put this stuff up to charge people tax money. And even if they did get they got this low-level web page guy to build it, it's probably only a couple $1,000s, but Trump probably paid that out of his pocket money. So the translation to that is CNN is terrified because they finally have to answer for their own bias. And what they're showing, we've got receipts up there. So the panic is already settling in, and the media bias monitor has only been live for a day or so. So cry harder, Brian Stelter. All right. So then we got out by Donald Trump, and this is for Tennessee's 7th Congressional District. I think they're voting today, okay? If you're from Tennessee and you're watching today, please get out there and vote for Matt Epps. He needs your vote. It looks like the Democrats were trying to throw some cheats in there. They made like this, they were so far behind. Here's Matt Epps up here, the Democrat was here. And then all of a sudden, the Democrat made this huge lump all at one time and got right behind him. But President Trump is endorsing him 100%. Okay, so Tennessee District 7 polls open in all counties no later than 9 a.m., but some open as early as 7 a.m. Polls close at 7 p.m. If you are in line by 7 p.m., stay in line. They must let you vote. Election day is today now, December 2nd. Get out and vote, vote, vote for Matt Van Epps. He will never let you down. Okay, so that's my public service announcement for Tennessee. Guys, get out there and vote. All right, so yesterday we talked about Mark Kelly and this CCP-controlled 10-cent money for his balloon company. He hid it in a blind trust, then joined the seditious six to tell troops to defy Trump. His credibility is zero, and he's Communist Party controlled, okay? And he's putting money in his coffers. He's getting paid by the CCP, all right? I mean, how else could he do that and be part owner of a balloon company that it's owned by the Chinese, okay? So Tencent, the Chinese Communist Party controlled company, pumped money into Mark Kelly's stratospheric balloon startup Worldview. In 2013 and 2016, Kelly quietly moved the Chinese investment into a secretive blind trust when he ran for Senate. Now he's part of the seditious six, telling U.S. troops to ignore President Trump's lawful orders and warning they could be prosecuted once Democrats are back in control. Critics note the irony: a senator with a CCP-linked funding undermining the chain of command of the U.S. military. See, initially, I got to tell you, initially they were talking, if it was just based off of the video that he did and he didn't have any of these other shenanigans going on, he could be facing 10 years in prison, okay, and it would be in Leavenworth. But now that they're finding that he's involved in this, he's been taking money from the Chinese, it's actually going to be turning from sedition into treason, and Senator Mark Kelly could actually be tried for treason And we all know what the outcome of that is if he's found guilty. Okay, so now moving on. Senator Bernie Moreno has introduced a bill to ban Americans from holding dual citizenship, and he called it the Exclusive Citizenship Act. This is good. I know there's quite a few other representatives and senators that are going to support this, and they would only be smart to. Anybody that is holding a dual citizenship should not be allowed to be working in our government. And the main reason is you have to have fealty to one country, okay? And that would, in this case here, if you're going to be in as a United States congressman, congresswoman, or senator, you have to have allegiance to the United States of America, not Israel or Mexico or any other country of origin. All right, had to get a slurp of coffee there. Okay, now, we knew last week that the judge, the federal judge, through the case of James Comey and Letitia James, basically saying that the person that was assigned to the case by Attorney General Pam Bondi basically didn't have standing as an attorney, probably because they were saying she wasn't from that district or that area, but so now we're finding out now that James Comey and Letitia James may be indicted this week after an activist court threw out their charges. So it's going to happen again, and this time it's going to be done right. I think President Trump put the order out. Now, all right, we're still gonna get back into some overseas stuff, and if you guys are paying attention, you can kind of start seeing how the puzzle pieces to everything that's happening right now are getting put together. Okay, so Gunther's awesome. Been following him for a while on X, and he put this out in pretty good detail. So, and Fauci, by the way, because of the auto pen stuff, Fauci's pardon has gone away. So this here is just kind of a wake up to those that forgot about the auto pen stuff and who was pardoned by the auto pen and how it's not going to happen. Now we know why Fauci requested a preemptive pardon. The biolabs in Ukraine are real, and I've been telling people this for well over a year, probably 14 or 15 months. I'd have to go back and look at maybe some time and date stamps on some of the papers I was working on. And it was because of this and the war that was going on in Ukraine, I felt that there was something big there, and I needed to investigate it. So before I even moved to Texas, I was digging into this. And I actually happened on a group. It was kind of almost like maybe the Holy Spirit or God led me there because, I'm being led towards the truth. And I found this group. I'm not going to say which social media it was on, but I found this group, and it was actually a pretty even mix initially of Russians and Ukrainians, and I got accepted. They said that they wanted to verify if I was Ukrainian or Russian before I could join it. Basically, they didn't want anybody from any other EU country in there, or NATO, with the exception of they didn't have an American in there. And I told them, hey, I'm an American journalist. I'm kind of like a reporter. I'm kind of a low level guy, but I said I'm doing some research on the Ukraine war, and I said the little digs that I've been doing, I found some things that are disturbing, and I was wondering if maybe you all could help me to determine if I'm finding fake news or if it's real. So I would meet with these people and I would write everything down. And that's long story short, that's how I met my fiance. And, you know, she's just a civilian. She's not in the military. She said she will never, ever, ever fight for Ukraine, especially with this war here. And she's doing everything in her power to keep her little brother out of it. Because Ukraine's very corrupt here. So, one second. So anyway, I wanted to get on with this here. So I had asked about if they know about the bio labs, and they said that they had heard, but the things that they were telling me mostly about what was happening over like in the Donbass region, Donetsk and all the way up, that initially that it was actually Ukraine that was attacking their own people. So these people, I'm trying to remember what the language. A lot of them, my fiance too, speaks a mixture of Russian and Ukrainian, and I can't even pronounce it. I'll tell you what, I could probably ask my little assistant here real quick. I don't know if you guys will see this on the screen or not, but it's hard to type. And I think he gets it even though I mistyped it. Maybe. Surgic. Okay, it's a hybrid speech that a form that blends vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation from both Ukrainian and Russian, and it varies widely depending on the region. But that's what's cool about that is they can talk, and translators just can't understand what the hell they're talking about. So anyway, I got a lot of this stuff from this group who they needed an outside voice because they felt that nobody was really saying anything. And what's funny is I saw there were a lot of Brits that were there, journalists, and they were mixing in about 20% truth, and then all the rest was fake stuff. But I was getting the full, unadulterated truth. And the reason that I know it's the truth is because when you got a Ukrainian telling you that the Ukraine military did this, or that I don't want to say the N word, the Nazi word, but that's what they're calling them. But and those are the group of people that are actually running behind the scenes, along with certain countries from the EU and NATO. Okay, so anyway, let's move on here because this is important, but I didn't want to spend the whole time on it. It says many of these biolabs around the world were actually U.S. funded and led to this dangerous kind of research that, in many examples, has resulted in either a pandemic or some other major health crisis. Now, this has actually happened in Ukraine a couple of times. One more particularly that my fiance and a couple of the guys that were in the group, the Ukrainian men, they told me that they were suffering from what felt like, and what they were diagnosed with was like urinary tract infection, but they were having nauseous and dizziness, and their blood pressure was spiking. So they got put on a regimen of some antibiotics and some other medicines, and for the most part, they got better. My fiance is still having some issues with the high blood pressure stuff, and we're working through that. The worst part is back in April, she had open heart surgery to fix a hole in her heart that was a birth defect. So I think a lot of that has to do that she's still recovering. So anyway, moving on. U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine when the Russia-Ukraine war kicked off for this very reason. So Putin didn't want this stuff on his borders, especially when NATO was piling up on the borders and they're coming in to use Ukraine and say, we're coming in to save you from Russia so they could move all their troops in. Zelensky was just a big puppet, and he was putting money in his pocket this whole time. So anyway, who knows what kinds of other pathogens are in these labs, and if released, could create another COVID-like pandemic. And for that, and this is what he was saying, and this is what a lot of the Ukrainians were being called, but this is what Tulsi is saying, and for that, I was called a Russian asset. You're, trumpeting Putin's talking points, all of this nonsense simply for asking a question and speaking the truth. Okay, so that, by the way, are still on the U.S. Embassy Ukraine's website today about how the U.S. has funded these biolabs in Ukraine. Now, I would play basically what I went through as a short synopsis and covered everything that Tulsi covered here on the Megyn Kelly show. So I'm not gonna play the video, but we know that she talked about it and that it came out. All right, so moving on. 47 U.S. lawmakers are not seeking re-election. What we know. I'll get into that in just a second. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see. I mean, if I click on it, it brings us over to the Epoch Times. I don't know if that actually loaded for you or not. Let me just look. It wants me to sign up. Let me get back over here. Yeah, I'm gonna back out of the web page and just stay over here. So I think if I click on the read more, it might, yeah, see, I can't read it because Epoch Times kind of has it locked down. But just so you know, I'll leave it up here so you can take a quick look. There's 47 Democrats and Republicans combined that are not seeking re-election. And what we know, those of us that have been looking into resignations and and especially politicians that are not going to seek re-election, it's because they were in on the dirty, and they were basically told that we can forgive you for what you did here, because maybe, I guarantee you they aren't forgiving any crimes against children or any crimes against humanity on any people. So any of these people right here, if they aren't seeking re-election, they were probably maybe doing some insider trading or something like that. There's a couple of names in here that actually surprised me on the Republican side. But the other thing could be is that people are talking about Congress and the Senate being completely wiped out and then starting over from scratch. So some of these people, by not trying to run again, they might be waiting for, I guess you could call it, the legislative reset. All right. Moving on. All right. I'm not even going to play this video. Maybe I'm going to play it.
More guns in this country.
So this here is Ilhan Omar now wanting people to hand in their guns. Okay. She wants to start a buyback program. You know, it's like, if some of the shits out there wanna get involved in this and sell their guns back or whatever, they can. But I'm gonna keep this part very short and simple, and then I'm gonna move on. I'm going to keep my guns because I might need them to help when they deport all of these people. Okay? How do you like that? All right. So, I think that's it. So, what Juanita Broderick says, this evil POS Somalian, Ilhan Omar, wants to require you to register all your guns so the government can buy them back. I've included her in this post so you can tell her what you think. And I already reposted exactly what I told you guys. And I tagged her again. So now I am going to come back over to my ugly mug and bring this to a close. I really hope you guys have a really good Tuesday. As a reminder, President Trump, 2 p.m. Eastern time, he will be addressing the nation. I may or may not put it up. I don't know. It just depends on what I'm doing at the moment. I've got a few things to do, and before I go, I got to let you know. I applied for this job, and so depending on what my hours are, I may not be able to do the morning coffee with Mr. E unless I do it much earlier. Okay, it'll still be out there so that everybody sees it. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you care that I'm even putting the news out there for you guys and letting you see it? Would you prefer to see me earlier? See, like right now I'm running it at 9 o'clock Central Time. So maybe if I came on at like 6 or 7 o'clock Central Time in the morning, would that work for you? Or would you even be interested in watching the replay once it's up? So let me know in the comments. I really want to know. If I don't hear from anybody, then I will just shut the show down, and then I will go back to posting things every once in a while. So I'm probably gonna hold this job at least until May 1st, because May 1st is my official retirement date. All right. Everybody, please, like I always say, head on a swivel. Be aware of your surroundings. That's called situational awareness. If you're not strapping, you should. And if you just don't believe in it, make sure that you've got somebody with you that is strapping or has a weapon that nothing can prevail. Okay? Put on your armor of God. It doesn't matter if you live in the big city. It doesn't matter if you live in the suburbs. It doesn't matter if you live in the Boontoolies like I do. You never know what you're going to run across. So just make sure that you're safe. I actually like to have my friends and followers and everybody come back and hang out. And I would like to entertain the thought of maybe in some evenings having some roundtable discussions, just shooting the shit and talking about whatever comes up, having a good time and putting it out there. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. We'll get you coming in where you can come in on the stream. I have two ways that I can do it. One is using Zoom, but Zoom, I think I'm limited to where I can have a total of 6 people. I'm not sure. And then the other one, I can have quite a few, but the problem with that is over time, the throughput degrades, and then people start lagging, and it gets goofy. So that's only good for like short sessions with people. Anyway, you all take care, be safe, and God bless every single one of you out there on the other side of this screen. Peace out.